Hi, you guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've taken a couple months off as I've been doing a pilgrimage in the UK for the last couple months. So I'm happy to be back today. I've got some channeled messages for you. If it happens to be your first time catching my channel, there must be something in the upcoming message that's going to be supportive for you. So I hope that it lands. I hope that it's helpful and useful. And please let me know in the comments if it is. My name's Allie Wilkins. I am a priestess. I'm a teacher of the ancient feminine, and I specialize in helping people activate their soul mission. So if you're interested in essentially activating your primordial power as a woman and your feminine energy, and you want to work with your soul blueprint, you're going to love this channel and what I talk about. So make sure you subscribe. So and if you're coming back to the channel, welcome back. Um, yeah, so it's interesting. I've been pilgrimaging for a couple of months now and during a lot of intensity. We've gone through eclipse season, and there's just a lot of different things moving in the astrological field, as there always are, but also in the collective. It's been really intense on a political level and just in lots of different ways. So today I'm just going to share some different messages that I've been getting, things I've been experiencing, things my students and clients have been experiencing. And I hope that some of it will be at least confirming to, or maybe will help you to receive like some verbiage or some deeper understanding of what's happening on a deeper soul level right now. So to me, for the last couple of weeks specifically, really since eclipse season has ended, there's been a really deep theme around nourishment. And especially as things in the political climate continue to heat up, continue to just get more dramatic and more draining also, I just keep hearing from my own guides and from my students and for you guys as well. We have to be starting to really focus on what supports our nourishment. And I'm not talking about like taking baths and, resting and like, I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about these more fundamental things in our life that eat, like you could kind of think of it this way. They either support our nourishment or they support our drainage, our exhaustion. And there's something around like we need to do some recoding. And I'm just going to kind of jumble all these messages together because they really do go together. So what I've been seeing is that this fall season, like all year, we've been talking about we're in the new timeline, right? In the summer, it felt like there was a kind of hanging, like a limbo period where it's like, okay, we're out of the old timeline, we're not in the new one yet. What am I supposed to be doing with my hands? Like that sort of energy, like, all right, what, like a waiting energy. And August, September, that felt like it started to shift and gears started to move and things started to like pick up pace where we could feel like, oh, okay, I'm on the ground, like I'm around the new timeline. I can feel that I'm moving towards it and stepping in it. And this later part of the fall, October, November, and into early December, it feels like this is a very important time to be setting the quantum field for this new timeline. We need to really be getting very clear about what we desire, how we want it to look, of course, without attachment, because we know that source consciousness, the universe, is going to deliver it in the most perfect, magical way that supports our blueprint, that supports us in a way that we can't see. However, we have to like have some audacity. That's like, I keep hearing this word audacity being thrown around in different ways. And it's really that like we really have to start applying audacity to what we're wanting to manifest because things are now changing at such a rapid pace. We don't have a blueprint. Like I remember 10 years ago when I was like, I don't want to work at a corporate job. I want to have my own, I want to like have time freedom. And I had a few people that I could see how they were doing that. Now things are shifting so rapidly. It's almost like there's not time for the blueprints of what we're wanting. And I'm talking about the people, this is kind of interesting. I'm hearing like the people who are at the front of the line. So if you feel like that's you, it is. This isn't an ego thing. It's just like people who are paving the way I feel like there's just a lot of you on this channel who are doing this. there's not enough time really for like models for what you want to birth their manifestations. It's like, so you have to have the audacity to just say what the fuck you want, go for it, and like have the belief in yourself that whatever it is you're asking for is possible, even if you don't have physical proof for it quite yet. And if you don't know exactly what it is that you want, I mean, basic manifesting is that you think about how you want to feel, what you want to experience, because a lot of times, like what we want to experience is actually what we're trying to manifest anyway, and that can come in a lot of different ways. And our baby being little limited minds are like, oh, it has to be this way, and it doesn't. There's a million ways that it can manifest, and a lot of them are going to be better than what we come up with ourselves. So there's something around you have to be really like this is visioning time. This is visioning time, and this is the time to be setting the quantum field for what's going to be coming and what will become more solid in January, February, March. Um, it does feel like our feet are on the ground, but you know the feeling of when your feet are in mud and there's you're like when you're a kid or now when you go to the beach and you bury your feet in the sand and it's kind of hard to move like your feet are solid. It's almost like, okay, the glue's about to dry. What do you want? Now, what do you want? Like, get clear on it. There's a little bit of that energy. Of course, we can always like maneuver things around as we're moving through, but it's basically like the momentum is here now, so use it. Also, as I'm filming this, this might not apply if you're watching this later on. Venus is in Libra, so this is a really amazing time to be focusing on these desires that we have, especially if they're around beauty, wealth, finances, romance, love, feeling nourished. These sorts of things are all going to be very supported during this time frame, which I think, and this is using Western astrology. Venus and Libra in Western astrology shifts, I think, November 6th. So using this like 3 week period to really hone in on that. And if you want extra momentum with that, I'm doing just for the next 4 days. So this might not be applicable when you're watching it, but I just opened the Venus Temple as a self-study program. I ran it this past summer as a live group, which was amazing. And now I'm doing it as a self-study, and there's epic, amazing, phenomenal prices. For the next few days, I'm doing that just as like a Venus and Libra sale. So I'll have the link for that in the comments if you want to check it out. That will really help you learn how to work with Venus because she really is like Venus has changed my life so much since really consciously working with her. And of course, I work with her in relation to the ancient feminine. I feel that, and we'll get back to the channeled messages, but I feel like this is important for when we're talking about like our vision, especially if you think that you're a priestess, if you feel you embody the priestess energy. Venus isn't just about being hot and gorgeous and having a bunch of money and carrying around a Chanel bag. That's kindergarten version of Venus. The way that I teach Venus is how is Venus supporting the collective shift? How is our embodiment of Venus in her mastery, not in her kindergarten level? How is she supporting like the global awakening? How is she supporting deep transformational change in our culture, in our systems, in our political systems? And it's not that I teach her in relation to politics or anything of that nature, but I teach her as the highest version of her being the serpent priestess who is completely outside of herself. She is in devotion to the collective. And that is the version of Venus that we should be aiming towards. She has all the base stuff, the magnetism, the beauty, the wealth, the sovereignty. This is a really important part of Venus's embodiment. And so the way I teach Venus is like we need to gain the mastery of all of her levels of embodiment leading up to the serpent priestess who is in her highest mastery. I see the serpent priestess as being the highest feminine form of mastery. And I teach that in a few different programs. So anyway, if you want to work with Venus, I highly recommend doing the self-study program. You can also get a discounted Akashic record session with me. Anyways, back to the channeled messages. So yeah, it's visioning time. It's like we're setting the quantum field. What do you want? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Get very clear on that and expand beyond what you think is possible. Because the thing is, there's a lot of different energies that are wanting to come in to support you with that. And it's like they'll meet you at whatever level you're willing to expand to. Leading into the next message. So I've experienced this in the last week. a lot of, I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, I get a lot of psychic attacks because I think that is one, a form of spiritual narcissism. That's for a different conversation. Two, I think that it's sort of victimy. Three, I think that it often indicates a lack of protection, like a lack of protecting yourself and having the strong boundaries and barriers on an energetic level. And I can also support you with that. I do that work a lot since I work in the Akashic Records. Anyways, but also we know that spiritual warfare is real and that there are entities and beings that their literal job is to slow down and distract sometimes people who are on a mission to shift collective consciousness. So we know at the same time that that's true. In the last week, I have experienced so much of this, and it happened for the first time after I tried to activate this new embodiment of myself. So everything that I just talked about, setting the quantum field, having a new energy come in, and I'm working with this as sort of like an alter ego, having a new alter ego come in that essentially, but really this isn't just like a concept or an idea. It's an aspect of your higher self. It's one individual strain of your higher self wanting to come in to support you in creating the things you're asking to create. However, what I experienced is literally as soon as I called this energy into my space, which is a being of extremely high consciousness, love and light, nothing darker and like nothing of that nature. And as soon as that version came in, all of a sudden I felt not just constriction, because that's normal when you're expanding into something bigger, but I felt like attacked. I felt like there were other energies in my field. I have a cat here with me right now, and the cat started going crazy. And at first I was just like, why are you meowing so much? And then I realized, actually, one of my friends reflected this to me. She was like, I think that she probably sensed the energy that was coming in that you were feeling too. I was like, wow, thanks, kitty cat, for trying to like protect me basically and let me know something was around. So my point is, as you're bringing these energies in, because for some of you, what you're going to be bringing in is going to be incredibly powerful. Especially for me, this is my version of the serpent priestess that's coming in. And so if you're bringing in something like that, essentially this is a version that the patriarchy cannot fuck with on any element. She cannot be like taken off of her path whatsoever. She is going to be strong and sovereign, and there's it's like the matrix won't have a hold on her. And so if you're bringing in anything of that level of power, of course, there's going to be energies that want to come in. You might also experience this in a very physical realm. I'm feeling this like really strongly because I'm in the records right now, channeling for you guys specifically, watching this. And I feel like there's also, for some of you, you're going to have people acting as those. They're calling them like demonic entities. I don't really believe in demonic entities. I just think entities are holding different vibrations, just like people, and we can transmute and transform and work with them. Um, but you don't want to transmute and transform all of these really low frequencies because some of them are just going to try to pull you down and it's like not worth the energy. This is something I teach in the Serpent Priestess work in the Venus Temple. But anyway, so for some of you, these are going to show up as entities that are attached to people that you know. Could be your romantic partner, could be your friends, could be your parents, could be people who might be jealous of you, could be people who don't celebrate your success, and you're going to start to see that. You're going to start to see like what I'm hearing is I want you to notice who is it that who is it that celebrates you when you expand, and who is it that tries to pull you back down. These are really important things to notice because the people who try to pull you back down, it's not that they're like horrible, awful people. It's that they're threatened by your expansion. And if you want to, it depends what your intentions are for your life. It depends on who you want to become. It depends on how much you want to grow in this lifetime, which pretty much I know for a fact every one of you watching this wants to become your highest self, wants to become the best version of yourself. So we're not going to be able to hold space for people who are like, I'm uncomfortable with your expansion. Like it's a hard no. So when that shows itself, take note, and you can choose what you want to do with that. And it might depend, there might be different nuances based on who this actually is in your life. But that's another thing coming in, to start to notice and have some extra high protection like doing more energetic hygiene practices to ensure that your space is clear, to ensure that your field is clear and that there aren't intrusions. So I've experienced this in a couple different ways, and I'm just going to tell you one of them because it's just kind of interesting. Well, I'll tell you two of them. So one of them, there might be energies from the past that try to come back up and pull you down, that try to pull you up and grab you. Things that you've already, I'm hearing the word like expired, things you've already expired, things you have already said no to, things that you have already closed out. There might be like a subtle reach out from a person, or there might be something energetic or something. There's just this energy of like something that's going to try to stop you from stepping into this higher expansion. Because I feel like for everyone watching this, whatever you're going to be stepping into, and this is also like a multi-year process of embodying this new frequency. It's not like, oh, in February it's going to be complete. It's like you're calling that version of you in now, and over the next like year and a half that version of you is going to be embodied at deeper and deeper levels. So, but yeah, there's this feeling of like, if somebody or something doesn't want you to go into that space, you need to take note and choose if you want that energy in your life. And you also need to make sure that you're doing deep energetic hygiene to, like I said before, ensure that your field is clear. And so that these things aren't like pulling at your energy, and these things also, this is maybe just for a few of you, this doesn't feel as strong, but like leaks. Where are you allowing that? For some of, I feel like this is for a small, like 5% of you watching this. Where are you allowing leaks to coddle that energy of someone else who's uncomfortable with your growth? Cut it. Like, we don't have time. We don't have time. And this is also something that Venus can really, really help you with. And not the kindergarten version of Venus that most people are talking about. I'm talking about the masterful version of Venus. She is holding deep, grounded, rooted sovereignty. So she's adored and loved and revered and respected. However, she's not doing that because, like, she's not overgiving and she's not overcompensating. She knows how to protect her power and she doesn't have energy leaks. And this is why she's so powerful. But this version of her is different from maybe like, we might have an image of a really powerful woman as being like a Viking or something, or in modern day, maybe being a woman who's really wealthy, that's like a big CEO or something. And it's like, I want you to envision another another image of a really powerful woman as being the most magnetic, radiant, sensual, pleasure-filled, like creative woman that you can imagine, that is respected, revered, admired, treasured, cherished. Everybody wants to help her because everything she touches turns to gold, and everything that she puts her hands on, like everything is a win-win situation when she is interacting with it for everyone. So she's highly loved. We don't have visuals of this being a powerful woman. We have a vision of the powerful woman being like an ice queen, or being really masculine, or being really cold. And a lot of us are like, no thanks, I don't want to do that. We need to shift our vision of this. And this is why I like working with Venus, because she helps us to install those different aspects one thing at a time. And I teach this in the Venus Temple through 5 of her archetypes that build on each other. So anyway, you can see all the stuff about that in the link and the comments. Coming back to the message around nourishment. So what I started saying is asking the question, looking at everything in your life, the way that you're doing things, even like your routine during the day, the different practices you're doing, the behaviors you're doing, the way you're interacting with people. Is this nourishing or is it not? It's a yes or no. It's like yes or no. It's not, there's no in between. Is this nourishing or is it not? If it's not nourishing, use this time as we're like quantumly creating. This is also about redoing some of our habits, restructuring them, reframing the way we live our life to not allow space for those things that drain us. And of course, this is like always a thing, but right now it feels really powerful to pull the plug on anything that's not nourishing you. Relationships, behaviors, mental patterns, energetic patterns, like a zillion different things. And this is because we want to be learning to there's something shifting. This is like really deep. This is on a really subtle, super deep level that's not really like we can't really pick this up yet, is what I'm hearing. There's a very slow, like tectonic shift in the space right now that's shifting us from being rooted in our power from depletion to being rooted in our power from nourishment. And the potency of which we move is going to be so much faster when we're rooted in nourishment. And we have to be modeling what does power look like when it comes from a state of nourishment, not from a state of depletion. Because women have been shown power comes when you become a man. Power comes when you are masculinized and your sensuality and your femininity is depleted within you and you're exhausted. And that's causing a lot of people to not choose stepping into a higher form of their own power, which is really just their own potential, right? So there's something really deep under the surface happening that's like, hey, we're going to slowly shift you all into being rooted from a state of nourishment. So, what are the subtle shifts and changes that you need to make to be coming from a state of nourishment? Because also, something that's going to be happening, most of you have been on your awakening journey for quite a while now, at least a couple years. And the more you're on this journey, the more you realize, wow, I keep getting more sensitive. Like, wow, I keep being able to feel these shifts on a much more subtle level. Whereas, if you think about before you had your first ego death or your dark night of the soul or your spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, we weren't like, oh, I can feel that the moon is in Aquarius, or like, oh, I can feel that there's like solar flares going on, right? At least I wasn't saying that. Like, I didn't have any awareness of that. I wasn't like, oh, I feel this way on the full moon and I feel this way on the new moon. The more we awaken, because essentially before, when we're not noticing that stuff, we're like a storage closet that's filled to the brim. There's no space for anything, right? And then we start looking at, oh, these belief systems, maybe they're not so healthy. And we take a few things out of the closet being our body. We take a few things out of our mental space too. And over time, as we remove things one by one, as we start to heal trauma, as we start to clear space so that we can receive more, it's like, whoa, is the moon, like, what's Pluto doing right now? Like, I can feel Pluto's up to something. And the thing is, duality is going to continue to exist in the dimensional planes that we're operating in during our lifetime in this incarnation. So we're not going to be getting away from duality anytime soon. And basically, the matrix systems, these like parasitical systems. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the other thing. I'll bring that up in a second, thinking about parasites. That reminded me. These parasitical systems are going to get louder and louder and louder because they're like, fuck, these guys are waking up. Fuck, these guys are remembering the serpent in the Garden of Eden story, that there's something different outside of this garden. We've got to make it louder. We've got to pull them back in. So it's just going to keep getting louder, probably for 10, 20, 30 years. I don't know, maybe even longer. And we have to be able to, like, a lot of us are starting to see, like, or have been seeing, okay, they're literally trying to deplete us. They're trying to throw all these things at our face at one time. So we're drained and are easy to control, right? If we're coming from a state of nourishment and we understand what's helpful to tune into and what's not, and we don't allow ourselves to be manipulated psychologically, spiritually, energetically, emotionally, physically, if we don't buy into all of these things, because we're rooted from a state of nourishment, we're so much more powerful as a collective. But also, we have to realize that we're going to be more and more and more sensitive to these very harsh frequencies that are being pushed out onto us. Like, even if you're not thinking about just like politics of the government, also like think about 5G, think about like, and I'll bring this in now. All of these, oh, this is interesting. So I'm hearing like, so I've talked about how there are energetic gridlocks on certain bodies of land. And you can, if you're sensitive, you can feel them. Like if you're like, I can feel the energy of the land so deeply when I cross, especially in the US, when I cross state lines. Oftentimes there's different grid networks that are placed on top of the land's grid. So these are artificial grids that are essentially governing how much someone can grow and expand in a certain area. And there are these certain gridlocks, and in different places there are more of these gridlocks being put up. So, like I said, I'm in the UK. I'm in Scotland right now, and I'm staying a couple of miles right now from this royal yacht called, which I couldn't give two fucks about the royal family, but I am interested in royalty consciousness. I am interested in what does it feel like to be a person who has a yacht that is designated for me. That yeah, so I was like, oh, I want to go on this royal yacht and like see what this is like. And I also had a lot of recommendations from people saying it was really cool. So I went. So this is the royal family's private yacht. It's not commissioned anymore. It's called the Royal Britannia, and it's just like docked now so people can go see it. Went on this ship, totally unimpressed. No offense to the people who said it was good. I don't care about nautical things. I was there for the decor and for like, ooh, what does the furniture look like and what does the queen's room look like and that sort of thing. I'll put a picture here. It was shocking in a bad way. And so I came back from the ship disappointed because I was like, wow, the decor really wasn't hitting. And that didn't feel rich to me at all. That felt like that didn't meet my expectations basically. But I came home and I got so sick. All of a sudden I had a horrendous migraine. I didn't do anything that would have caused me to have a migraine. I know my migraine triggers because I get migraines sometimes. And incredibly nauseous, couldn't open my eyes because I was so sensitive to the light, etc. It was a really, really bad migraine. And the day before is when I brought in this new identity where I felt like all of a sudden there like everything shifted in the space around me right after I brought this higher version in. And I felt like there was parasitical energies all around me. And then I had, well, actually, this was the next day. Then I had like an energy from the past tried to reach out at me again, and it was that same parasitical energy. And so on this boat, I realized like this royal family, like reptilian overlords. That was probably a gridlocked location. That is one of the most visited places in the UK, that boat. Don't know why, but it is. So all these tourists coming in, if there is this energetic gridlock on that boat trying to encode entities onto people, I mean, the whole time I was there, I was just like, ew. Not only am I not impressed, but also like the energy here feels gross. And so then afterwards, the next day when I felt better, I was like, wow, okay, like that was a psychic attack, that entire experience. And I had another similar experience just like that. And this is kind of what helped me come to this conclusion. I went to Jekyll Island. I was like staying with someone and they were like, oh, you can use our Airbnb in Jekyll Island. And so I stayed there for a weekend. And it's like this beach off of Georgia. And I had never been there, so I was like, sure, whatever. Then I found out that like when I got to the island, I was like, ew, there's been human sacrifice here. I could feel it. I could hear when I walked out onto the beach, I could hear it, which I usually don't hear things. I'm not usually clairaudient. And the energy was just horrendous on that island. I could just feel so much like of this same reptilian energy, and I got so sick. And then my friend told me, Allie, that's where they created the Federal Reserve. That's where they created in the early 1900s the central banking system, like before Titanic sank, like around that time period. This is where they created this matrix slave financial system. No wonder you felt shitty. And it was the same feeling. So my point in saying all of this, hopefully that's just like interesting, and then you saw the Queen's bedroom on the ship, um, is that be on the lookout for these parasitical energies trying to latch onto you to drain you of the new power you're trying to accumulate. They're never going to be able to succeed for that long. However, they can slow you down. You know, it's the same energy of like if this shows up in the form of a person, for example. I think about like if people, especially in romantic relationships or maybe just with someone who's really close to you, I think about like if somebody's not serving as an asset in your life and they're weighing you down, I literally think like you're standing and you're walking and they're holding both of your ankles and you're having to pull their weight as well as your own, and it slows you down. So just be on the lookout for these sort of like parasitical energies. And I'm going to circle back and finish now. So essentially this whole message is about number one, Where are you not rooted in nourishment, and how can you start to shift those patterns, those ways of being? But it feels also like really physical things in your life. Like what needs to physically shift so that you're coming from a so that you're like rooted in deeper nourishment. There needs to be more nourishment in all of our lives, and we have to reorganize some things in order for that to happen. The next message is we are quantum coding right now for the next multi-year cycle. So, the next timeline that many of us are stepping into. So, what do you want? What do you desire? Make it big, make it grand, because as you do that and you guys all know how to transmute limiting beliefs at this point. As you're doing that, a new version of yourself is going to come in like, hey, do you want some help with that? And you can work with this as like an alter ego. This can be an aspect of your higher self. This can be you working with a role model in terms of like just being inspired by someone else. It will depend like where you're at in your journey and just what feels good in that moment. But something's going to come in that's going to be a model for you of how you, it's like basically a template, like a blueprint energetically of what you would need to become to hold all those things that you want. So that's what we're quantum coding. So like go big and don't worry about how it's going to happen, of course. Third, watch out for parasitical energies. Watch out for the leeches. Watch out for the things that want to drain you. Watch out for the succubus energy, which I don't really like using that word because that's been really applied towards like sexual women, and it's not about that at all. It's like just this leechy energy, like energy vampires, people who are trying to leech your power. Look out for this with people who want to siphon your power because there's a lot of that energy around, and sometimes it hides in places that you don't expect. So just start to kind of have a radar out for that and then address it. Make sure that your energetic hygiene is up right now because there's a lot of infiltration trying to happen. So, yeah, that's today's message. If you want help with this, the Venus Temple is genuinely like a beautiful, amazing place for you to train in these. Like, this is just kind of a root channeled message today, but the Venus Temple will help you to cultivate nourishment, magnetism, wealth, radiance, sovereignty, allure, intrigue, mystique, this like this power that's deeply respected, that's rooted in our feminine frequency. That's what it helps you to create. And I teach it through 5 different layers. And because it's self-study, you can spend as much time or go through it as fast as you want. It's full of Akashic Records journeys, of teachings. It has full curriculum. This is a full course and a full training. And it will really, really help you. It's changed my life so deeply. And I've watched people have so many different beautiful transformations in terms of finding jobs that are more aligned with them, enhancing their sensuality and their sexuality with their partners, improving their libido, like becoming more creative, getting better jobs that make them more money and are more importantly are more fulfilling to them, stepping into their soul mission, activating higher confidence, like so many different things. So oh, activating their muse. Like it's so, I love this program. It's so juicy. So the link for that is in the comments. You can buy that at any time. However, I'm doing a sale right now. So it's going to be ending Sunday, October 18th, 2025, and you're going to get $444 off. All the information is on the landing page, so you can see it there. If you enjoyed this, if this message spoke to you, if it aligned with you, please like it. Please leave a comment. That helps more people find my videos. It helps me, helps my channel grow. And I would just appreciate that as a small token of appreciation for the video and support for me. And of course, subscribe if you enjoy this, and you can go check out some more of my videos as well. I have tons of them. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day and happy quantum coding.